So let me tell you about the day everything changed at the Vidian Nexus. I'm Scott Caldwell, and honestly, I never thought staying calm could be such a weapon. Picture this. The entire building is losing its mind. Red alerts everywhere. People screaming into their comms. Fists slamming on desks. The Solstice City energy grid is supposedly under attack, and everyone's convinced we're about to plunge the whole city into darkness. And there's me walking through this corporate meltdown like I'm taking a casual stroll. But here's the thing, my mind used to be a storm of reactions, always ready to snap back, always needing to respond. Not anymore. I'd learned something powerful. Controlling your own state is everything. While Marcus Thorne, this senior engineer, is literally screaming about how we're losing control of the grid. I'm just watching, not reacting, not flinching, just observing, because panic clouds your vision. And I needed clarity. Everyone's seeing an attack. I'm seeing patterns, subtle oscillations beneath the chaos, inconsistencies that don't match the attack narrative. So I walk to a secondary console, and I start typing, calmly, precisely. It's not an attack, I say, cutting through the noise. It's a resonance feedback loop. System miscalibration, amplifying minor fluctuations. Someone missed a patch on the sub-frequency regulators. Thorne scoffs at me, but I don't care. I keep working. Within minutes, red alerts turn amber, then green. The energy drain stabilizes. The room goes quiet. I just saved the city from a blackout. Not by being the loudest voice in the room, but by being the calmest. Now, let me tell you about someone who took silence to a whole different level. Erica Loudon. This woman is a master. I heard about this negotiation she had with a guy named Finch. He's doing his whole performance, talking non-stop, making demands, trying to dominate the room. And Erica, she just sits there, silent, unreadable. Finch keeps talking, filling the silence, getting more and more uncomfortable. He expects pushback, an argument, something, but Erica gives him nothing. Just watches, listens. Her whole team does the same. They've been trained in her methods. Finally, Finch can't take it anymore. "Well," he demands, desperation creeping into his voice. "What do you say, Miss Loudon? Do we have a deal or not?" And that's when she strikes. Calmly, she points out every flaw in his proposal. The asset valuation discrepancies. The undisclosed liabilities about his data systems. She's been listening the whole time, absorbing everything, letting him expose himself. Finch stammers. His whole carefully constructed dominance act crumbles. He realizes he's revealed too much. Overplayed his hand because he couldn't handle the silence. Erica had just watched him dig his own grave, and now she owned the negotiation. The renegotiation, completely on her terms. Not because of what she said, but because of what she didn't say. But if you want to talk about powerful silence, let me tell you about General Silas. This man is a legend. Deep in the Bastion Keep conference hall, beneath the Phalanx Mountains, there's this massive war council meeting. Holographic displays showing battle lines, casualty estimates. It's grim. A dozen high-ranking officers arguing for an entire hour about whether to retreat, push forward, or request more resources. And General Silas, he's just sitting there, 61 years old, imposing figure, weathered face. For a full hour, he says nothing, just observes, reads, faces, anxieties, hidden agendas, exhaustion. The debate turns into absolute chaos. Commander Hayes slams his fist on the table. "General, we cannot hold. We must consolidate, even if it means ceding the southern flank." Colonel Jean counters. "Ceding the south guarantees a protracted siege. Our only option is a coordinated thrust through the Iridian Gap." The room erupts again, and Silas, still motionless, but something's happening. His patient, wordless presence is exerting this subtle pressure, drawing everyone's scattered energy back to center. One by one, officers quiet down. unconsciously turning their attention to this silent man whose gaze seems to absorb all the chaos without judgment. When the last whisper dies, the silence is absolute, reverent. Then Silas speaks. His voice is deep, resonating with quiet authority that transcends rank. The southern flank will hold. The Iridian Gap is a feint. Our forces will consolidate and move on the Sunstone Plateau. We cut off their supply lines, not their escape. One gesture, and the holographic display shifts. The room doesn't hear this as a command. It's received as inevitable truth, not a compromise, not a forceful directive. Pure clarity drawn from patient observation. The entire campaign, on the brink of disarray, shifts with that single statement. Officers start issuing orders, moving with renewed purpose. That's the power of knowing when to speak. Now, let me introduce you to Frank. 45 years old, completely nondescript, moves through the Crestwood Institute like a ghost. Most people overlook him, just a quiet analyst in a department full of ambitious researchers. Dr. Eleanor Vance, the head of his division, is particularly dismissive. She sees Frank as reliable but uninspired, someone she can easily manipulate. And Frank, he lets her think that, never corrects her assumptions, never fully elaborates on his research. He leaves just enough ambiguity for her to fill in the blanks with her own ideas about his limitations. One Tuesday, during a routine review, Vance presents her division's progress. She's confident, smooth, glossing over certain budget allocations. She even references some of Frank's deliberately simplified data to support her narrative, assuming he won't challenge her. Frank sits quietly, taking notes, with this faint smile on his lips, because he's been playing the long game. By allowing Vance to misjudge him, to believe she's controlling the narrative, he's lowered her defenses completely. He's waiting for the precise moment she'll overreach. He's a patient spider, and she's about to walk into a web she thinks she's been weaving for him. The evidence he's gathered through quiet observation and her own unguarded overconfidence, almost complete. Then there's Nena. 34, elegant, captivating smile, expressive eyes, in a world of constant social media updates, always on connectivity, and relentless pressure to be seen. Nena discovered something powerful, the power of absence. For weeks, she'd been everywhere. Exclusive art exhibitions, philanthropic galas, high-level networking events, a magnet for attention, an influential voice in every discussion. Then overnight, she withdrew. No announcement, no dramatic exit. She just stopped attending. The effect was immediate. Conversation started with, "Have you seen Nina lately?" Or, "I wonder what Nina thinks about this initiative." Her absence initially puzzled people, but then it amplified her value. Her presence transformed into a highly anticipated event. Invitations that were once formalities now came with personalized notes, earnest pleas for her insights. Event organizers noticed attendance flagging, key discussions lacking her unique perspective. Her deliberate scarcity taught others to appreciate her time, to truly value her input rather than take it for granted. When she finally reappeared at a critical funding announcement for the Solstice City Arts Foundation, her entrance was understated. She didn't command the room, she simply was in it. Murmurs died down, heads turned. A palpable sense of relief spread through the attendees. Her quiet re-entry commanded immediate respect, not because of what she said or did, but because of the power her temporary void had created. Her words, when she spoke, were few, but each carried immense weight, listened to with an intensity her constant presence could never have achieved. People gravitated toward her, eager to hear her perspective, not out of obligation, but out of genuine appreciation for a presence that had become, through its scarcity, deeply significant. Back to my story at the Vidian Nexus. After that crisis, I found myself leading my team differently, not through orders, but through quiet reflection. I didn't push them, I walked beside them, mirroring their unspoken anxieties. acknowledging the strain in their eyes without needing words. I'd bring coffee at unexpected moments or simply sit silently at a terminal, observing my calm energy, a subtle anchor. When someone voiced a frustration, I wouldn't immediately offer a solution. I'd reflect their concern, rephrase it to show I truly heard them. This built deep, unspoken rapport, fostering a natural inclination to follow my quiet lead, not out of duty, but out of shared understanding and trust. Frank's story reached its conclusion in an unexpected way after methodically exposing the truth about Vance. He was offered a major promotion, the title, the lucrative salary, the prestige. Everything people work their whole lives for. He looked at the offer, then out at the sprawling campus of Crestwood Institute. He remembered the quiet determination with which he'd exposed the truth, the disciplined self-containment required to let the betrayal unravel on its own terms. And he realized something. True power wasn't about the title or position. It was about the unshakable independence of his own convictions. He wrote a concise, polite refusal. He walked away from the promotion, from the salary, from the prestige, not in defeat, but with absolute clarity. It was a powerful assertion of self-respect, removing himself from a situation that violated his core principles. He valued his peace, his integrity, far more than any compromise. His unshakable independence was his ultimate strength, a silent, profound act of self-mastery that shaped his world and defined his true influence. The ripples from all these stories, my unwavering calm, Erica's deliberate silences, Silas's profound declarations, Frank's quiet unraveling of deceit, and Nina's potent absence, they didn't fade. They deepened, weaving a new tapestry of influence across Solstice City. I became a widely respected crisis manager at the Vidian Nexus. My team, initially bewildered by my serene demeanor, amidst chaos, learned to emulate it. They observed me in countless scenarios, noting how my calm didn't just preserve my clarity, but extended a palpable field of quiet energy, allowing others to find their footing. I'd often lead after-action reviews by simply asking, "What did you feel when the alarm sounded?" Not "What did you do?" This subtle mirroring of their emotional rhythms, my willingness to acknowledge their internal state, before demanding external action, built unbreakable trust. When a new system vulnerability was detected, threatening to destabilize the city's energy grid again, I didn't bark orders. I gathered my senior engineers in a quiet room, letting them vent their initial fears and frustrations. I listened, absorbing the static. Then, with a slow, deliberate breath, I said, "We have a problem, yes, but we also have clarity. Where does the fear obscure the solution?" I sat in silence, allowing their minds to reorient. The solutions emerged not from my voice, but from their collective quiet focus, guided by my unshakable presence. They moved with newfound cohesion, an unspoken understanding of the gravity and their shared ability to meet it. My influence was less about directing and more about aligning, tuning my team into a frequency of calm, deliberate action. Erica's power solidified into something unassailable. A reputation preceded her in every high-stakes negotiation. Competitors, once prone to bluster, now approached her with cautious respect, knowing any attempt to dominate or deceive would only be met with poised, unyielding quietness that would inevitably force their own hand. At the negotiating table for the critical multi-system integration contract, the largest infrastructure project Solstice City had seen in decades, Erica faced a consortium of three powerful, often fractious tech giants. They arrived with meticulously crafted arguments and aggressive timelines. Erica let them speak for hours through their presentations, their intercompany squabbles, their thinly veiled attempts to extract more from her firm. She watched their body language, the shifting alliances, the subtle tells of anxiety behind their practiced smiles. When the cacophony finally subsided, leaving tense, expectant silence, Erica didn't immediately counter. She let the silence hang, a heavy cloak pressing down on the consortium leaders, amplifying their discomfort. Then she leaned forward, her voice soft but resonating with authority. "Gentlemen, you've each presented a vision for how this partnership benefits your shareholders, but none of you have truly addressed how it benefits Solstice citizens in the long term, or how your disparate systems will genuinely integrate without creating new vulnerabilities. Perhaps we should pause and consider what true collaboration looks like beyond quarterly projections." Her words, few and precise, cut through their elaborate facade, stripping away the performative dominance and forcing them to confront the underlying fragilities of their own proposals. The renegotiation that followed wasn't a battle of wills but a genuine re-evaluation, driven by uncomfortable truths her silence brought to the surface. Her leverage was absolute, her influence not in her demands but in her capacity to compel self-reflection from others. General Silas, long retired from active command, remained an essential, revered figure in the military council, his wisdom a bedrock in times of uncertainty. His single, impactful declaration years ago hadn't just shifted a campaign, it fundamentally reshaped the strategic doctrine of the Phalanx Defense Forces, moving them toward more patient, precise operations rather than reactive brute force engagements. When a new border dispute flared up in 2022, threatening to ignite a wider conflict, the current high command was split, advocating for various levels of preemptive strikes or full mobilization. Silas was invited to an emergency session at Bastion Keep. He sat, as he always did, absorbing the fervent arguments, the tactical projections flashing across holographic displays, the rising tension. He said nothing, his weathered face an unreadable mask. Yet his mere presence, that profound, wordless stillness, began to calm the agitated room. Officers, one by one, found their voices softening, their gazes involuntarily drifting to the elder general. When the debates exhausted themselves, leaving only the hum of displays and heavy silence, Silas finally spoke. "Observe the terrain," he instructed, his voice low, a gravelly whisper that nonetheless commanded absolute attention. "Observe the river systems. They will tell you more than their troop movements ever will." He paused, allowing his words to sink in. "A preemptive strike is an admission of fear, not strength. We wait, we watch the water." The High Command, chastened and enlightened, rerouted surveillance, studied hydrological patterns, and discovered a complex network of hidden supply routes and planned diversions the enemy had intended. Silas's wisdom, distilled to a few potent words, had once again averted potential catastrophe, teaching patience and observation as the truest forms of strategic power. Naina's mastery of absence fundamentally reshaped her value in Solstice City's elite circles. Her selective engagement became legendary. Her appearances at events transformed them from mere gatherings into significant cultural moments. She didn't need to post updates or maintain constant online presence. Her worth was intrinsic, amplified by the deliberate scarcity of her time. When the Solstice City Arts Foundation faced an unexpected funding crisis, threatening to close several vital community programs, Nina didn't join the frantic fundraising calls or public pleas. She accepted a single invitation to a private, intimate dinner hosted by the city's wealthiest philanthropists. She arrived late, subtly, her elegant presence immediately drawing every eye. She spoke only once after the initial polite small talk, her voice low and resonant. "The arts are the soul of our city. When we allow them to wither, we diminish ourselves. Their value is not in their presence, but in the void their absence would create." She smiled, offered a brief, engaging conversation, and departed early, leaving behind a profound impression. Within days, the Arts Foundation received unprecedented pledges. Nena hadn't explicitly asked for money. She'd simply reminded them of the inherent value of something they took for granted: amplifying its importance by illustrating the power of its potential loss. Her influence was a quiet, almost imperceptible force that shaped perceptions and moved mountains of capital. These stories taught me something fundamental. True power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need to be loud or constant. Sometimes the most influential thing you can do is master yourself, your reactions, your presence, your words, whether it's staying calm in crisis, knowing when to stay silent, understanding the power of absence, or having the integrity to walk away from what doesn't serve you. These are the quiet forces that shape the world. In a world that constantly demands more noise, more presence, more reaction, maybe the real revolution is learning when to be still, when to listen, when to let silence do the heavy lifting. Because at the end of the day, it's not about controlling others, it's about mastering yourself. And that quiet mastery, that's the kind of power that changes everything. You know what's interesting? After all these stories spread through Solstice City, something unexpected started happening. People began testing these principles in their own lives, and the results were, well, let me show you. I met this woman named Iris Chen about 6 months after the Vidian Nexus incident. She'd heard about what I did, and she reached out because she was drowning. Project manager at a mid-sized tech firm, brilliant mind, but completely overwhelmed. Scott, she told me during our first coffee meeting, I'm in every meeting, responding to every email, within minutes, always available, always saying yes. And somehow, I have zero influence. My team doesn't respect me. My boss doesn't value me, and I'm burning out. I recognized myself in her immediately. That old version of me that needed to react to everything, to prove my worth through constant availability. Iris, I said, what if I told you that your availability is actually destroying your value? She looked at me like I was crazy, but she was desperate enough to listen. I taught her what I call strategic unavailability, not ghosting people, not being irresponsible, but being intentional about when and how she engaged. We started small. She stopped responding to emails immediately, created specific windows for communication, started saying, let me think about that, and get back to you, instead of instant yes or no.